So I've been watching this Kavanaugh hearing and I'm kind of glued to my TV. I haven't really made a lot of videos about it. I was kind of waiting for the circus to die down a little bit and make a video on like the whole proceeding and what actually happened and everything. But it doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon. Well, at least not until Friday when they did the vote. But hey, interesting revelations come out. Christina Blasey Ford, ex-boyfriend, says she helped friend prep for potential polygraph. Grossly sounds alarm. So, in case you're wondering what is actually happening, in the actual court hearings, Christina Blasey Ford, or doctor, said the following.
Have you ever had discussions with anyone besides your attorneys on how to take a polygraph?
Never.
And I don't just mean countermeasures, but I mean just any sort of tips or anything like that.
No, I was scared of the test itself, but was comfortable that I could tell the information and the test would reveal whatever it was going to reveal. I didn't expect it to be as long as it was going to be, so it was a little bit stressful.
Have you ever given tips or advice to somebody who was looking to take a polygraph test?
Never.
Okay.
So, there. Clear and definite no. Right? Now, the reason why this has ramifications, okay? So, we'll go through the article, and this is more than just her committing perjury. Okay? Now, I know people are saying, oh, Brett committed perjury. People have come out and challenged. Yeah, people have come out and said he drank a little bit more than he said. Right? That he was a bit of a party goer when he was at high school, at college. Tell me who wasn't enjoying themselves at college. I wasn't drinking. I'm not a very big, heavily drinker. But I tell you now, I still enjoyed myself at college. Parties, mostly LAN parties, you know, like going out, like road trips with the guys, you know, like it was a whole group of us that all hung around. We had a kick-ass time at colleges, including doing burnouts in the car park, for example. So, yeah, everybody enjoys themselves at college. This, however, is a little different because this is not just her committing perjury. This is also helping her friend, and we'll get to this in a sec, commit an actual FBI crime. So let's go through this. In a written declaration released Tuesday and obtained by Fox News, an ex-boyfriend of Christina Blasey Ford, the California prosecutor accusing Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault, directly contradicts her testimony under oath last week that she never helped anyone prepare for a polygraph examination. So the former boyfriend, whose name was redacted in the declaration, also said Ford neither mentioned Kavanaugh nor said she was a victim of sexual misconduct during the time they were dating from about 1992 to 1998. He said he saw Ford helping the woman he believed was her long-life best friend prepare for a potential polygraph test. He added that the woman had been interviewing for jobs with the FBI and the US Attorney's Office. So when you go for a polygraph test, the first thing they say to you is, have you been coached on how to do a polygraph test? Reportedly anyway. I've never had one. And you're supposed to answer yes or no. If you answer yes and you are going for a government job, then that will actually go through and can actually knock you out for that job. Because they can't rely on the polygraph test. Because you've been coached, you know how to do it. So at the end of the day, yeah, no, if you say yes, you're generally ruled out from getting that job. So if there is actually a person that works for the FBI or the US Attorney's Office who took a polygraph, who lied on that polygraph, that is huge. That is absolutely huge because they've got their job under false pretenses. Also, not only that, but if you commit perjury, for example, Dr. Christina Blasey Ford, saying that she's never coached anybody and you have received coaching, then at the end of the day, by law, you are to come forward. It's not a case of, oh, do I, don't I? But no, you have a legal ramifications to do that. Okay? Well, that's my understanding anyway. So at the end of the day, look, it's obvious why. If this has, and look, this is obviously rumours and he says, she says and whatnot, but we'll get to that in a sec. But if this is true, I can understand why the long life friend hasn't come forward, because she knows it'll torpedo the case against Kavanaugh, and it also could cost her job. And I don't know if you'll get jail time or not, but like shit, getting an actual government job under false pretenses, holy shit, I would imagine that would have to be something major. So that might be why the actual girl, the long life friend, if it did happen, that might be why she's not coming forward. Yeah, let's keep going. He also claimed Ford never voiced any fear of flying, even while aboard a propeller plane, and seemingly had no problems living in a small 500 square foot apartment with one door, apparently contradicting her claims that she could not testify in DC because she felt uncomfortable travelling on planes, as well as her suggestion in her memories of Kavanaugh's alleged assault prompted her to feel unsafe living in closed spaces or more without a second front door. Ford never expressed a fear of close quarters, tight spaces, or a place, this is what the ex-boyfriend's saying, with only one exit, the former boyfriend wrote on Thursday. Ford testified, quote, "I was hoping to avoid getting on an aeroplane, but I eventually was able to get up the gumption with the help of some friends to get on the plane." She acknowledged regularly, in her own words, unfortunately, travelling on planes for work and hobbies. Yeah, seems a little selective, that fear of flying, doesn't it? So, Ford also told Senator Dianne Feinstein that she had a second front door installed in her home because of anxiety and phobia and PTSD-like symptoms. Notice she didn't call it PTSD, she said PTSD-like, but anyway. That she purportedly suffered in the wake of the Kavanaugh's alleged attack at the house party in the 1980s. More especially claustrophobia, panic, and the type of thing. In a pointed, no-holds-barred letter Tuesday evening that referenced the ex-boyfriend's declaration, Senate Judicial Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley demanded that attorneys for Ford turn over the therapist notes and other key materials. So it's important to note that we have not seen these therapist notes. At the end of the day, they are still elusive. And look, at the end of the day, I'm not really putting much weight into those, because they can be they can be fraud, they can be created or backdated, and at the end of the day, yeah, even if so, doesn't necessarily mean she's telling the truth to a therapist either. But anyway, and suggests that she was intentionally less than truthful about her experience with the polygraph examinations during Thursday's dramatic Senate hearing. Quote, "You continued withholding of material evidence despite multiple requests is unacceptable as the Senate exercises its constitutional responsibility of advice and consent for a judicial nomination," Grizzly, Republican, wrote. Under question from experienced sex crimes prosecutor Rachel Mitchell last week, Ford said that she had never had any discussions with anyone on how to take a polygraph, or given any tips or advice to anyone who was looking to take a polygraph test. She repeatedly said the process was stressful and uncomfortable. But in the declaration, the ex-boyfriend wrote that, quote, "I witnessed Dr. Ford help Monica L. McLean prepare for a potential polygraph exam, and that Ford had, quote, explained in detail what to expect, how polygraphs worked, and helped her become familiar and less nervous about the exam, using her background in psychology. Now, there is the actual letter there. Obviously, parts of it have been redacted. I will put a link in the description below for the notes, so obviously you can go and check that out. Mitchell, in a report Sunday, said Ford's case was even weaker than typical he said, she said situations, and pointed out numerous discrepancies in her version of events in the past several weeks, concerning everything from how many people were purportedly partied to when it had occurred to how she found her way home. Mitchell also noted that none of the witnesses Ford identified as having attended the party could back up her version of events. Some of the apparent inconsistencies, Glassry wrote, could possibly be addressed if Ford's legal team turned over all video or audio recordings produced during her own August polygraph examination. Ford passed that polygraph. In the handwritten statements she wrote prior to the test, she indicated there were 4 boys and a couple of girls at the gathering. The problem is, though, if she knows how to beat a polygraph, if she is giving advice on said polygraphs, then it is easy for her to use her own logic to go through and beat a polygraph exam. Especially if she's a psychologist. She would know what to do, or have a better idea anyway, of what to do to beat that polygraph. So I put no weight in that polygraph whatsoever. But in Ford's letter to Senator Dianne Feinstein in July, she gave different tallies, writing instead that the party included me and 4 others. Under oath on Thursday, Ford for the first time mentioned a 4th boy was at the party, but that she could not remember his name. Grassley also demanded Ford's attorney hand over notes from her 2012 therapy session in which she claimed to have discussed her alleged sexual assault decades ago. The senator said it was not justified any longer for Ford to cite privacy and medical privilege, given that she has relied on them extensive as kind of corroborating evidence to implicate Kavanaugh. On Thursday, Ford claimed she could not say definitely whether she had shared those notes with the Washington Post approximately 2 months ago, or opposed to describing them exactly. The Post wrote that they had reviewed a portion of Ford's notes. Yeah, I would not put any stock in the Washington Post at the moment anyway. Not mainstream media. Look, at the end of the day, if I see them, then obviously I'll be more likely to believe them. But at the end of the day, I don't think... And like I say, these notes can be fabricated. So, yeah, but anyway. Additionally, Grassley requested copies of the communications between Ford and the media describing her allegations, saying the legal team's failure to provide Ford's full correspondence with the Washington Post suggests a lack of candor. So, in a separate letter to Democrat Senator Chris Coons, who also sits on the Judicial Committee, Grassley wrote, the accuser freely admits to having no evidence whatsoever that Judge Kavanaugh even attended this party. We've reached a new level of absurdity with these allegations, which is my problem with them, and I'll get to that later. The scathing letters come as Fox News has learnt from a source that the FBI may wrap up its investigation into misconduct accusations against Kavanaugh as soon as late Wednesday, potentially clearing the way for final Senate vote on his confirmation within days. If the FBI report is indeed delivered to the White House on Wednesday, Fox News experts on a vote on Kavanaugh confirmation could come as soon as Saturday. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell must first satisfy a number of procedural and parliamentary hurdles before a vote can be held, including fulfilling a cloture petition, which must retain pending for a full day in order to formally end the debate on Kavanaugh's nomination. McConnell has vowed to hold a vote by the end of the week. The uncorroborated sexual misconduct allegations against Kavanaugh have filtered in recent days as the credibility of these 3 most prominent accusers, Ford, Deborah and Ramsey and Julie Swatnick, might be mispronouncing, have come under question. Democrats increasingly have focused their argument on Kavanaugh's temper during Thursday's hearing, as well as whether he lied under oath about references in his high school yearbook. Kavanaugh acknowledges sometimes having too many beers in high school and college, but some Democrats have suggested he lied by not going further and admitting that he had blacked out. None of Kavanaugh's classmates have said he blacked out, although some have come forward suggesting it's likely he did at some point. So they don't know, they just suspect that it is because of the amount they saw him drinking, for example. For his part, Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Monday called out what he says was transparent stall tactics in a fiery floor speech. Quote, "If you listen carefully, Mr. President, you can particularly hear the sounds of the Democrats moving the goalposts," which they have been doing. McConnell said. He added later, "The goalposts keep shifting, but their goal hasn't moved an inch. Not an inch." Okay. This is obviously the same sort of thing. The Daily Caller has picked it up. So yeah, a lot of people are talking about this at the moment. What do I think? Okay, so do I think she might have lied under oath? Yeah, I do. I think they might have. Look, I think Brett Kavanaugh lied when he said he hadn't blacked out drunk and he only had a few beers. I get that. You don't really want to go through and say that when you were at college you used to get legless, for example. And look, I'm not so worried about what he said regarding that. You know, underestimating your drinking and that when you're, what, 30-something years ago, it was college. Everybody drinks. Everybody parties. Everybody drinks too much. Okay? If that is what you've got as evidence as to what this guy should or should not be doing 30 years later, then I think that's a bit piss poor. However, the bigger concern is her going through and A, seemingly knowing how to beat a polygraph, or according to these accusations, and B, helping a potential government employee beat a polygraph test and go through and actually get a job, and C, lying about actually being able to beat the polygraph. Lying about flying, lying about these having 2 doors built into a house. There seems to be a lot of a testimony that is very suspect. Which is ironic because the Democrats are turning around saying, well, if you lie once, then nothing you say counts. Well, if that's the case and we have a look at this, then nothing she said has ever counted either. So we're back to square one, which means confirm Kavanaugh. Like I say, I really do think these allegations are a load of crap. I don't think it was him. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, it's just how I feel about it. I know we're supposed to believe women and all that sort of stuff, but no, I don't believe her. I think that her voice in the actual hearing was an act. I think that she's lying about this stuff. But this girl has raised literally over $700,000. Obviously not her herself, but with GoFundMe accounts. Other people have made these GoFundMe accounts in their name. And it'd be interesting to obviously go through and find out if there's any link or connection between them. But here's one here for $528,000. Okay, and there's another one here for $209,000. So all up, they're looking at just about $800,000. So she has a lot of motivation to go through and to claim that, you know, and to make these allegations. She will profit. She will live very comfortably off this money. And also, she's not likely to lose her job either. She still does work, as far as I understand. She's a doctor. She's a psychologist. So yeah, at the end of the day, and the legal fees and everything like that, they're not charging it. It's all pro bono, and it's all done by people that were recommended by the Democratic Party. Like, holy shit, the amount of collusion going on in this is insane. You literally have the Democratic Party recommending their I presume their friends, lawyers, a firm. I presume it's their friends or something like that, or someone they constantly use, to go through and to represent this girl pro bono so that they can go through and hold up. It's like, holy shit. You're literally doing this just to hold up a court hearing. Just a a Supreme Court nominee. What else is the left willing to do? If they're willing to do this when they don't have power, what are they willing to do when they have it? If they're willing to screw up this man's life over what appears to be fake allegations, and that's my understanding of it, what would they do to you? What would they do to me? What would they do to everybody else who gets in their way? Because, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you believe Kavanaugh? Do you believe Christine Blasey Ford? At the end of the day, do you think that both of them are lying? Do you think that maybe he lied about how much he drank, but she's definitely lying about the flying and the door and everything else that gets put on top, the polygraph, the lie detector, everything like that? Let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.